Well, hello peeps, it's me Mika coming to you looking like a hood ninja here because I have some hair products in, and yeah, we're gonna be doing today a tunings video. Originally I planned to do a solo RPG video for you guys and wanted to talk about a few topics, but after waiting a 20-minute queue I realized, yeah, I'm not gonna waste my time, so you guys are getting a tunings video here with some additional topics we'll discuss after we, get through the tunings. And I'm gonna say right away that these tunings are barely gonna really impact anything, and I don't think this is bringing back anybody to the game. So we can just kind of start off doing the tunings. Unholy Death Knight has received some serious buffs here. I mean, Apocalypse Ghoul damage increased by 30%. Rotten Touch increases damage of your Scourging Strike against the target, but 60% was 50, so we're gonna be having some nice hits with either, Scourging Strike or Clawing Shadows. Death Coil damage increased by 80%. Generally speaking, very huge, and also Scourge Strike, Clawing Shadows, and Vampiric Strike damage increased by 10%. So these 10% also should, go into Rotten Touch as well. So insane buffs to Unholy's main damaging abilities. Unholy does a really good amount of damage with damage over time, so this is just gonna impact that other part of the damage that's usually not as big. Moving into our favorite here, and kind of the main tunings we're gonna be discussing is, of course, Demon Hunter. The two things that are actually matter here is the hunt initial damage increased by 10%, making the hunt actually gonna be nuking like a 1.5 minute cooldown ability, right? Not like just another normal global that kind of does like a damage over time as well, right? Or, has like a mobility component as well, but this is actually gonna make it now do some serious damage, I think. Chaos Strike Annihilation damage increased by 10%. This is also something that is gonna definitely increase our damage output. But, and the big buts are, of course, Fellblade's damage increased by 10% again, and Demon's Bite damage increased by 10% again, and Demon Blade's damage increased by 10%. I mean, this is a joke, man. Like, this is like 2% over damage or something. Like, these are like very small amounts of damage by itself. So why is something that does 0 damage getting buffed by 10%? Like, we've had this buffed on the PvP side of things in the last tunings, right? So I guess they're gonna chunk. We have to kind of wait and see, but I really think this is like irrelevant. Like, Fell Bite damage increased 10% and Demon Bite again is just like, who cares, man? Like, this is already like 2% of very small percent of my damage, so you're giving me 0.3% more damage, right? When you buff these things by 10%, right? Like, the main thing, guys, if you've been following the channel, is we need survivability buffs, and I'm not gonna like joke with you, there is nothing in the PvP side of things. So this is again another 5th patch of tunings that we are getting without actually increasing our survivability, and as predicted by me, we're gonna get into that position where they finally gonna increase our survivability and we're just gonna be broken OP as hell, and then we're gonna get swiftly nerfed back down. So I really hope that doesn't happen as predicted, but right now everything is going as predicted. They are giving us tunings of damage without ever addressing the kind of component of our constant survivability, right? Like, we are still very squishy on a constant basis. In any case, peeps, I could go on this, I think, for like an hour or so, how you should actually address the Demon Hunter, especially the current Demon Hunter. Obviously, whoever is working at Blizzard and whoever is hired to do this job does not know what they're doing, so yeah, we're just gonna keep going. Devastation Invoker, all damage increased by 4%, does not apply to PvP, thank God. Empire damage increased by 20%. This does apply in PvP. So gonna be maybe gonna be having some nice burst with the Devastation again when it comes to like that Pyres popping off. But yeah, I think Devastation generally does a really good amount of damage. Moving into Hunters, man, and I would not think Marksmanship is like one of those classes that really needs a damage buff. Yeah, I mean, as a Demon Hunter, I really don't like Marksmanship doing as much damage as it does right now, so it's, yeah, I'm already kind of a little bit scared of Marksmanship Hunters when I see these tunings. This is just a whole slew of buffs, dude, like, yeah, just a slew of buffs. Paladin Veneration now transfers 225% of damage done into healing was 200%, saved by the life absorbs amount increased by 15%, does not affect PvP. Consecrate damage increased by 30%, so healers or Holy Paladins are gonna actually do some damage. And for Lightsmith, Tempered in battle no longer activates for the Paladins within crowd control, which is very nice, right? Makes you not waste your proc. As usual, peeps, we are gonna gloss over the healer side just because I'm not a big healer player, so I'm not even sure how big of these are gonna be affecting, the game. Holy Priest is definitely gonna be affected, like these are just straight up buffs, Flash Heal increased, Holy Fire increased, damage increased, sorry. Not sure how this is gonna be, because my healer gameplay is a little bit sassy. Epidemic Surge, Totem mana cost reduced by 25%. Okay. I don't think that really impacts us in PvP. Hound damage increased by 75%. Does not apply in PvP. Thank freaking God. Now, I must say one thing about Affliction. The most tuned spec of the war within. I swear to God, every time there is tunings to this class. So whoever is the main balancing dev is right now playing Affliction Warlock. That is very clear, right? Because I don't understand how this class is consistently receiving tunings. And specifically PvP has been very good, right? So to still have it like tuned, and then there's classes that, you know, don't receive this kind of attention, to me is kind of a joke, bro. Kind of a joke, but these are just straight up buffs, a lot of these, and yeah. Thankfully, the hound damage is not going to be increased by 75% in PvP combat. That's a thank God situation. So now we can get into the PvP side of things, and we're obviously going to start off with the Death Knights here. The first thing, Blood and Frost, both are getting Deathbringer increased. This is going to make Deathbringer, I think, a better option overall as like choice for hero specs, but I don't think this really changes like the story of specifically Frost in PvP. Blood might pop up again if they like do some buffs to it or whatever, or like unnerfs, I should say. And Druid Balance, Elun's Chosen, Lunan Calling is now 80% effective in PvP, was 62. A little increase for the Balance Druids. I still think they probably have the biggest problem with survivability right now, and they're probably like kind of in a similar boat as Demon Hunter, where Blizzard really needs to look at their survivability first instead of the damage. I feel like Balance still deals decent amount of damages. Now, one shocking thing to me, augmentation nerfs. I have been mainly playing Solar BGs lately, right, in BG, so I haven't really seen augmentation like being problematic, but I guess maybe in arenas, they are a problem right now. Like, that's the only thing I can assume is happening where augmentation is getting nerfed. Mage, Sound Fury, Burden of Power now increases the damage of your next Pyroblast or Arcane Blast by 40%, was 20%. Just a little buff to some Fury Mages. Monk, this was also like, the first time I saw it, I was like, wait, Monk is getting a buff? But then when you kind of read about it more, you kind of realize it's actually mostly a nerf, I would say, right? So Fist of Fury damage is increased by 30% in PvP, but Blackout Kick damage is reduced by 15% in PvP. Touch of Command now absorbs 50% of maximum HP in PvP combat, was 80%. I think this originally was 50% and then got buffed at some point to 80%. And Shadow Pen Flurry Strike shadow damage from Wisdom of the Wall is increased by 30% in PvP. So just overall kind of a rebalance mainly for the Windwalker. Originally I thought it was mainly nerfs, or sorry, mainly buffs, because I saw the first, the Fist of the Fury damage being increased by 30%, but yeah, I think this is gonna be kind of an neutral situation when it comes to damage, but the Touch of Karma is definitely huge. Like, that is definitely gonna make Karma not as big of a deal, right, as it is right now, because I definitely feel like right now when a monk clicks Touch of Karma, the monk does not like die. Like, there's no chance the monk dies, and if you focus the monk, you're killing the person who's karma'd. So yeah, I still feel like karma should be deadly in a sense that you should respect it, but yeah, it should not be to a point where it's like, okay, monk clicked Touch of Karma, now you can't do anything. Priest, Discipline, Void River, Inner Coitus? I don't think this is Coitus. Increases power word, shields absorption by 40% in PvP, was 20%, okay. Nice little buff for Disco. Shaman, Stormbringer Tempest is getting some damage increase. This is gonna make definitely Tempest do some nice nuking, and yeah, Riptide heal increased by 15% in PvP combat, and healing surging healing increased by 20% in PvP combat. So kind of huge buffs for restoration. These are basically your main two heals, Riptide being your like main instant cast heal. So Resto Shaman is looking very nice. Warlock, Chaos Bolt damage increased by 20% in PvP combat. Emulation damage over time increased by 20% in PvP combat, and Hell Color Wither damage over time reduced by 20% in PvP combat. So a little bit of a rebalance where your hero specs are going to be more even, right, on the Destruction Warlock, but emulation damage over time 20%, that's a pretty big thing, and Chaos Bolt damage increased by 20%, that is even a bigger thing. So yeah, the Chaos Bolts are gonna be chunking, man. They're gonna be chunking. Moving into the Warriors, though, Rand damage increased by 50. Moving into our final class here in the tunings, and it's gonna be the Warrior, obviously. Rand damage increased by 15% in PvP combat, and overpowered damage increased by 20% in PvP combat. So Arms is looking very juicy to me right now. Like, this is... You definitely right now feel like on Arms you're clicking, how would you say... You're doing too much damage on your Mortal Strike, but then everything else feels like it's doing nothing. So this is definitely, I think, going to be huge for Arms. And Fury Mountain Tain, Strength of the Mountain, now increases damage of your Rampage and Bloodthirst by 45% in PvP combat, was 30%. Definitely something that's trying to make Mountain Tain more of a option in PvP, because right now definitely Slayer is just yeah, the de facto choice for both. I would say Fury and Arms. Like Slayer is just so good. Now there is one pet peeve that I have to discuss with you guys, that kind of thing that has been just bothering me lately when it comes to just kind of the WoW community, but I would say also in the WoW PvP community, a lot of people from the PvP community want to use it as some kind of an excuse for Blizzard, and that is that we are a minority. Now guys, we are a minority for all intents and purposes. We are what, around 5% of players, but that's not some insignificant minority, right? If WoW has 7 million players, let's even reduce that now to like 5 million players, that is still 250,000 players who play PvP. In any case, if you count that people paid like 70 euros or $70 for the game, plus they bought like 6 months of subscriptions, you end up at around $40 million or euros, right? Depending on what currency you're using. In any case, I don't think that is, how would you say, an insignificant amount of money, right? That is a very significant amount of money. And since BFA, we've probably made the Blizzard close to a 200 million or something like that, right? So, many millions of dollars Blizzard makes from us PvP players. And in return, we got what? Since BFA? 3 arenas, 1 BG, right? And two modes. 2 modes that are like years, should have happened years ago, right? So this is just something that annoys me, like, from a few reasons, right? Obviously, the first thing is, like, we are treated as we're some kind of an insignificant minority while we are bringing in significant amount of cash to the company. Personally, I'm done with waiting for Blizzard to give us our money worth, right? Really, like, it is really just giving us our money worth. Like, give us 1% of the money that we bring in, use that to develop PvP in a way. But no, I feel like a 0 point something percentage actually gets used on PvP player base. At this point, peeps, we're kind of done with the tunings, and my sincere opinion is really these change nothing. They are a good set of tunings. I don't think these are bad tunings, but in the kind of context of Blizzard, not tuning the game consistently, right? These kind of being left and right? And in the context of the entire PvP situation right now, I really feel like this changes nothing. Like, not only is nothing changed, but like, how long till something really changes, right? Like, are we gonna wait for 11.1 and actually get the changes that we need for PvP, specifically referring to the MMR and just generally the ranked system of World of Warcraft, right? Like, are we gonna get that in 11.1? My assumption is gonna be probably not. Like, we are probably getting nothing in 11.1 relating to PvP being fixed. And we also got absolutely nothing right now. So it's a very bleak situation in PvP. And as I said before at the beginning of this video, I waited a 20-minute queue to try and get a solo RPG for you guys. Yeah, that is not happening ever again. I'm not waiting no more 20-minute queues. Sure, I am at like a relatively high MMR, 3k MMR, but even right now I think people are 3.3k, 3.4k, so this is not even the tippity top of the end, right? Like, or how would you say, the tip top MMR. This is like a high MMR, but there's no chance I'm waiting 20-minute queues. Like, especially guys, when I'm trying to like make a video for you guys, it is so annoying for me to wait a queue, get a queue, and then have like a bad game, which can happen, right? Specifically, that used to happen a lot in the solo shuffle, right? I wait 20-minute queue, I get the queue pop, I play the game, and it's a 4-2 situation where a healer is going 0-6, right? Like, uninteresting to see and uninteresting to play, and definitely not something that I waited for 20 minutes in queue to get. So there's just some problems that are fundamental, right? Like ranked system being still scuffed and whatnot, like MMR being scuffed, rating gains being scuffed. Like, I'm 600, 700 MMR more than my rating, and I'm getting 25 per win. Like, so many jokes and so many fundamental issues that need to be solved. And again, the biggest frustration is the fact that 11.1, there's no, how would you say, nothing that tells us, okay, we are gonna have these problems fixed in 11.1 or somewhere in the future. And again, the biggest frustration for me is definitely that Blizzard seems to move very slow when it comes to these things, and I don't think we are getting 11.1 a ranked system rework or anything like that. I don't think we're gonna even get it at like 11.2 maybe. Like, we are gonna get it probably next expansion, right? So yeah, that's for me is just a big issue that I really can't like wait anymore or sit anymore on and just wait for Blizzard to fix it. And now for a little note for my more concurrent viewers, right? For my kind of more constant viewers, guys, peeps, please forgive me, but I'm completely burned out with World of Warcraft right now. I'm not waiting no more 20-minute queues, 30-minute queues, 40-minute queues. it just is what it is. And I have some series planned, some gaming series planned for you peeps coming here soon, but I'm just still thinking, do I post it here or do I post it on a different channel, since it's not going to be World of Warcraft related for sure. I'm also tired of making videos talking about the game, making ideas for the game, and nothing really happens. And I've been doing this for basically 2 years now. And I do want you to understand that this is kind of become an important part of my, how you say, daily existence. A year and a half ago, I almost died, right? Some of you might remember those days when I was like, what, 300 subscribers. And yeah, this became a very daily thing for me, and just a part of my daily routine when I couldn't really do much other than really just play video games, right? And sit on my ass. So yeah, this is like, I really like doing this YouTube thing, and I really want to continue, and I'm just not gonna be forcing myself to play a video game that I'm just not enjoying, especially since this is not really like a job or anything like that for me, right? This is a just enjoyable hobby. So we'll see if I'm posting on this channel, right? Or we're gonna be posting on a new channel, but we are definitely having some different games. I'm definitely be playing some different games. Like right now, World of Warcraft is gonna be very sparse from my side. Like I'm gonna play it maybe once, twice a week if I really feel like it, but not really like I've been gaming it mostly like over the last 2 years, where I've been mainly a World of Warcraft gamer. So, and that's about it, peeps. Unfortunately, Blizzard is just completely fumbling PvP, and I think at this point there's just yeah, it's been too long, too long, and whatever they do, it might even be too little, too late. So hope you've enjoyed this little video. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things YouTubers want you to do, and have a nice day.